Welcome back to the 12 Days of Mods on the Yoda Expedition YouTube channel. Today is day 4. We got 3 days under the belt, and Corey's gonna recap those for you real quick in case you missed them.
If you guys missed out on days 1, 2, or 3, we did a Tinker shift knob, super easy install if you wanna check that out. Day 2 was a TRD Pro Style grill, Raptor lights, and some badges. And then day 3, we installed some headlights and taillights from Form, and those definitely gave it a nice look. So if you missed any of those days, you can go down in the description and check those out.
So not only are the mods increasing in complexity so far, but they're also just physically larger. So we got the headlights and taillights, and let's see what Corey's gonna pick from under the tree for day 4. All right, Corey, take your pick.
All right.
Those are wrapped the same. Those go together.
These two go together?
Yeah, those two go together.
Okay. These are the two then.
All right.
Do I need to open one of these first, or does it matter?
Doesn't matter.
We got some Diode Dynamics C2 pods. So we're installing lighting somewhere. I need a knife. Ditch light brackets and a harness. So today we're putting some ditch lights on the Tacoma with some Diode Dynamics C2 Stage Series pod lights and the brackets from Diode Dynamics as well. So let's go ahead and get this stuff opened up. These C2s are nice and slim, but they should hopefully throw off a decent amount of light. All right, so step 1 is gonna be getting these brackets installed. So I'm gonna grab some tape. I'm going to mark the hood hinges in the position where they're at. So when I take them off and put them back on, I know the hood's gonna be aligned where it needs to be. So we're gonna get these installed, and then we can get the lights mounted to the brackets, and then we can do the wiring last. So we got the side of the bracket and the top of the bracket marked, so I know where the hinge is. So now I'm gonna go ahead, unbolt one side of the hood, get one of the brackets installed, and then go ahead and do the other side. These brackets are side specific, so when you mount it into the vehicle, what we're gonna be doing is mounting it like this. So this is going to be sticking up, and it's also going to be sticking out to the outside of the vehicle. So the hood hinge is held on with two 12mm bolts, so we're gonna go ahead and get those taken off. If you have an extra person, I would suggest just grabbing them to hold the hood. Not that you go take the second bolt out and the thing starts moving all over. I also put some tape here on the edge of the hood, so in case it were to move, we're not gonna hopefully scratch up that edge.
All right, I'm that extra person that Corey has, so.
Yeah. All right, so go ahead and take off the second bolt. You don't want it to go down and hit the windshield either, potentially
So I'm
crack the windshield.
I have my fingers on the inside of the hinge and my hand resting on the back of the hood so that it shouldn't move too much while he has these out.
Both bolts are out. This side of the hood is loose.
And I'm gonna have to move my hand.
Yeah, you're gonna have to move your hand.
Okay.
All right. So we're gonna put the bracket right on top of the hood hinge and then reinstall the bolts. All right, it's good. It's not going nowhere.
I ain't going nowhere.
The bracket is adjustable. You can see we can slide this in and out. So we're just gonna make sure we have gap here so it's not touching the hood. And then we're gonna pull the bracket all the way towards the outside of the hinge and get the OEM hood hinge lined back up to where it was. I have to bring the hood up just a little bit. We're gonna go ahead and do the same thing over here on the driver's side. I'm gonna put some tape on the edge of the hood. Jared's gonna come over and hold the hood for me, and we'll get this bracket installed. Don't move it. All right, you're good.
Hooch malooch.
We can get the lights mounted to the brackets. See how that looks? Just gonna go ahead and just make sure it looks okay. Looks good enough for me. Next, we're gonna grab these tiny little brackets for those and the hardware. So we're gonna get the bracket mounted first. So put that carriage bolt on there, regular washer, lock washer, and then the nut. So I'm just gonna leave these loose. Once we get the light on there, we can move the light around and determine where we wanna mount it. Now, looking at these, the lenses are exactly the same. So when I go and put them on the Tacoma, they're not gonna be symmetrical. So what I'm gonna do is take out the Torx screws on one light, flip the lens over, and then they'll be symmetrical. You could also, if you want, you can change the lens completely to a different style. They have different colors. So if that's something you want to do, you can check that out as well. All right, so scratch that idea. We don't have a Torx bit driver that's small enough. The smallest we have is a T15, and that doesn't fit. So I'll flip this lens at a later date. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these installed onto the brackets now. You could position these however you want, if you want them to be straight on, but we're going to be having them angled out just a little bit. They are called ditch lights for a reason. We want to see the sides of the truck a little bit more. So I'm going to go ahead and snug these up with the lights facing out just a little bit.
Okay, Corey's got both ditch lights mounted and roughly pointed where we think we want them. We'll readjust that once they're hooked up and we can see where the beam's going. But now it's time for our favorite part, the wiring harness. We don't have our integrated switch panel installed on the Tacoma yet. That's still in development, but we do have our new OEM style switches, and this actually has a button for the main beam and for the backlight, because these do have an amber backlight function. So this is gonna go in an OEM location. All right, so we already have the roof light bar wired up. So Corey, how does it make you feel that we're gonna put another harness in there?
There's a lot of extra wiring here you don't need. If you have a switch panel, it's very nice to have. Just eliminate all of the relays, all of the extra wiring that's coming out of the relays. You literally just have a wire that goes from the light you're trying to power to your switch panel, and that's pretty much about it. So with this, we have a bunch of extra wiring. We already have a wiring harness in here for the diode light bar that we have up on the roof. So now we're just gonna be adding to that, and then we're gonna be installing, you know, more lighting down in the future, and we're definitely gonna need a switch panel just to clean things up and make it easier. Go ahead and tuck the wire up there. Now I'm going to run this alongside the firewall, zip tie it to the original wiring harness, and then I might shorten some of these wires up. We'll see. There's going to be a lot of extra stuff over there, and it's just not going to look very good.
All right, Corey's getting ready to run these wires into the cab so we can get the switch hooked up. He's gonna be running it through the firewall where we ran the harness for the roof light bar. It's gonna be a tight fit, which is why we would recommend, if you have more than one light, to go with that integrated switch panel that we're gonna be offering. But for now, we're gonna do it this way so we can hook it up with the OEM switch. Yeah. All good, Corey?
Yep, backlighting works, right?
Yep.
Switch is hooked up, everything's working properly. That's it. All right, so we got the ditch lights finished up. Now, once we get on the road or on the trail, we can do some fine adjustments, get them aiming to where we want them exactly, and tighten them down for good. But everything's working good, everything looks really good, so that wasn't too bad of an install.
Like Corey mentioned earlier about the lenses, we're probably gonna flip them later, and they also have other options that you can swap out, different beam patterns and different colors. But you can also use these ditch light brackets with their SS3, which has 4 LED emitters, and the SS5s, which have 9 LED emitters, for a whole lot more light than these are gonna give you.
Right.
All right, guys, that concludes day 4's install on the 12 days of mods for our Tacoma. These Diode Dynamics ditch lights look really good, and I love the amber backlighting. Hopefully the install helped you guys. If you want to see what Corey unwraps tomorrow for day 5, hit the subscribe button now and stick around and check it out.
Thanks for watching.
We'll see you in the next one.